What's going on, nation? I am Tony Justice, and welcome to a special exclusive Nation's Corner interview. And with me tonight is the one, the only John in South Jersey. How's it going, Johnny boy?
Good evening, brother. How are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good, man. Just been driving this truck. You know how it is.
Well, you know,
I'm
yep.
in Pennsylvania tonight. So,
Oh, lucky you.
yeah. What do we got, John? What do we got for us
Oh,
tonight?
tonight we're doing a special Nation's Corner on location interview. Uh, Wrestler joining us, been on the unfortunately been on the injury shelf for a while, but is making great steps rehabbing, and we've been trying to get her for an interview for a while. She's very busy, and we're going to talk about that and talk about her and yes, whatever comes to mind, we'll talk it. Wrestling, music, whatever. But she is the conduit of karma, which we can always use good karma. And I can't think of a better conduit than our guest tonight, Miss Kaia McKenna.
Hi.
Hello.
There she is. Hi,
Hello.
dear.
How are y'all doing?
Hello, Kyle.
Great.
Welcome to Nation's Corner on location. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me this evening. I'm excited.
Great.
Well, let's
Great.
go. Let's
Yes.
go.
Before we talk about the present, which being your shoulder, let's go into a little bit of the past. I first became aware of you. You originally are from the East Coast area here, Maryland.
Mhm.
And I saw you. I think the first time I saw you was it was Titan Championship Wrestling, but a women's wrestling army show. We were in a park in Ocean County, New Jersey.
It was my first match ever.
Was
You were
that was your
there?
first match ever?
Yes. It was my
Oh my
first,
God, that was
first
your
match ever.
ever. Tony, just to set the
Ever.
stage, this is a park in a town. This was 2020, and we still
Yeah,
had
pandemic.
we still had pandemic
Wow.
restrictions here in Jersey, and this company, Titan Wrestling, put on a show in a park, an actual like a park outdoors in the summertime, and it was a way for us around to get through some of the COVID restrictions we had here. And that wow, I can't believe that was your first match.
First match ever.
It's a
That was
milestone, John. It's a
yeah,
I
it
milestone.
got
was. Oh, it
pyro.
was.
I got
What
pyro in my
you had
first
pyro?
match. I did.
And
Awesome.
I have
There's
known.
metal. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I go to indie shows everywhere. Ask anyone. I'm all over the Northeast when it comes to indie wrestling, and I had been
He
to
is.
Titan. I had been to Titan championship shows before this and that, and it was like I'm like, but when they announced you and you came out with the pyro, and I was just looking, and I'm like, wow, who is this? Where did they get her from? No way did you look like that was your first match. In your presentation
Aw.
and the way you worked in the ring, your entrance, everything. I was like, wow, I need to keep my eye on this one. She's going places. Um, and then again, I saw you again. We're going to discuss this because I also am a MMA and combat sports fan as well. I saw you again at Combat Fights Unlimited.
Mhm.
You and the One Shot Killer.
Yeah.
Which was
Awesome.
a great match. And yet another thing, and then I come to find, oh, not only is she just a wrestler, and now I feel extra special that I saw your first ever match. She is also an international Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu member and trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo.
Oh, I don't know about judo, but yes, the national level competitor in
Yeah.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And and I know that kind of that grappling type of wrestling isn't what people may know or like about wrestling, but I think Combat Fights A does an excellent job of portraying that. And you guys had a very, very good, solid technical grappling match with a lot of reversals, a lot of ground game, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, wow, this lady is something special. So now you know why I wanted you to be on here to be interviewed for a while. So we go from Maryland. Were you a lifelong wrestling fan? Was it something somebody introduced to you? Where does the Kaya come from to go to say, yeah, I can do this.
I grew up watching wrestling. It was always on the TV when I was growing up. My family used to watch it together. My brother was a wrestling fan. My mom, my
Okay.
dad, my aunt, my grandma. I got the privilege of growing up in a wrestling house. And then as I got a little bit older and I had internet access, I became an independent wrestling fan when I was in high school. So I've been on the train for a while.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Cool. So 2020, that was your first match. Where did you train prior to that? Or did you?
I trained at Black and Brave in Davenport, Iowa. That's where I
Black,
got my quote unquote
that Black and Brave?
The Black and Brave. That's where I got my quote unquote wrestling education.
Okay.
I was like really,
Nice.
really flattered hearing you speak about how good my presentation was at my first match. But honestly, I think that comes from having really, really good coaches that were there to guide you and teach you the right way to do things, you know?
Yeah, well, that's certainly something you get at Black and Brave.
Yeah.
Pretty sure both of those guys got a pretty good idea what they're doing and know what they're doing
Yes.
to teach it. But okay, so we go from Black and Brave. You come back to the East Coast to work, and then now you're back out there, or are you still?
I generally split my time between the East Coast and the Midwest. I enjoy working both places, especially when I'm an active wrestler. I enjoy seeing the fans in Chicago, seeing the fans in Jersey, seeing the fans in Massachusetts. I like making like the little triangle and getting to see everybody. And it's really, really fun to just work in front of different crowds, because like what works in Chicago might not work in Jersey, which might not be what people in Massachusetts and beyond want to see. So it's a good test for you as a performer to like get out of your comfort zone and perform in front of different people. And it gives you a good benchmark as to where you're at and what you can do better. I love that. I love the challenge of working in new areas. I think it's really fun, and everybody should strive to get out of their little fishbowl.
Yes, I agree. The what's that? Iron sharpens iron, and
absolutely,
there's nothing that beats reps.
Well, yeah, and sometimes, you know, you get a really good opportunity. Like I know early on in my career, I was very blessed to have an opportunity to wrestle people. Like I had a match with Masha very early on, and I had a match with Holidead very early on, and I learned so much from having those two matches. But then there were other situations where maybe I was the more experienced person in the match, even if it was only by a month. And then it like forces you to step up and lead. So you're learning from both sides, right? You know, there's the side of learning from people who have been more experienced than you. And then there's also the side of having to step up and carry things and become more of a leader yourself and be confident in your own abilities. That comes with that process as well.
Very important. Very good.
Yeah, it is. You really need to experience both sides. That's what makes you a really good performer, I think, is just being able to wrestle anybody and have matches.
I agree, because you are on the tall side.
I am. I'm 5'9".
And a bigger, and I think going back to your first match, besides your actual presentation, how you looked and how you looked in your gear, I'm like, wow, this is a big athletic girl. And
switch.
And I was like, okay, you know, and not that you don't think that, you know, 5'9" is not that tall, but for a female, it is on the tall side. And
I mean, honestly, I'm the size of most male independent wrestlers. Let's be honest.
Honestly, you know, if somebody booked you in an intergender match, I'm buying in. I'm like, absolutely, she's more than.
I'll definitely beat some boys. Let's go.
Yes, by all means, let's book it.
All arms come off the same way.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Right.
Now, when did you start with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I started around college. I did Ishinru karate growing up.
Okay.
I took a little bit of a break from that. Throughout high school, I was really big into skateboarding, so I put a lot of time and effort into that. And then when I got into college, I just fell into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've always liked martial arts.
Okay.
To me, it's like chess almost. It's not like being the most aggressive or being like the most intense or being the strongest competitor, but being like the most intelligent competitor, being able to set the stage for victory, being able to anticipate your opponent's movements, being able to like lay the trap and like get them to do one thing thinking you're going to do this, but then you do that. So again, it's like a challenge for me, right? Like I really loved like the puzzle of it. And I loved that challenge about competing in jiu-jitsu.
Great. I understand that. And there's the one thing I noticed was, especially with wrestlers in particular who are have trained, are training, or involve themselves with jiu-jitsu or any of the other combat sports type, there's a fluidity to how you guys move in the ring. There is, it's not, headlock, drop down, toe hold, arm bar, arm drag, do it again. There's more of a,
yeah, because it's a real fight. Who plans a fight? Like, I'm going in there trying to win. I'm going to grab whatever limb I can. I'm going to take the person down and I'm going to rip it off. It doesn't have to go in any particular order. There are no rules in that sense.
Yeah, read my mind.
Everything's fair game. You're just trying to win. Yes. I'm trying to win. I'm not trying to do the fanciest leapfrog. I'm not trying to do the biggest drop down, whatever. I'm just trying to win. And I'm going to win any way I can.
There you go. See, I told you, Tony. Told you to keep your eye on
Yeah, I like it.
Not in there to do ballet.
It's not ballet. It's not ballet. It's violent ballet.
I'm there to win some championships when I come back.
Exactly.
You're not gonna win any championships doing ballet.
No.
So, just a few of your other highlights, and again, I can't get over that was your first match at Titan. Wow. You
great coaches. What can I say?
Yeah, but you were also on an episode of AEW Dark. I
was
with an opponent that is very near and dear to us here at the Nation's Corner, and the La Mera Thunder Rosa up in the Meadowlands for AEW Dark, which I saw the match. I saw it unfortunately on Dark. I couldn't see it live that time. I wasn't able to attend that show, and I was like, okay, I was right. That woman I saw in the middle of a park in Ocean County is now on AEW Dark Wrestling Thunder Rosa. How was that?
I was just speaking about how you're always fortunate when you get to work with competitors who are stronger, better, more experienced than you. And like, what an opportunity at like 9 months into my wrestling career. Oh my God. I was like such a little baby with my little tiny green horns poking out. But it was such a good experience to have, because to compete at that level really forces you to step it up. And she really forced me to step it up. And after that match, I had a lot of thinking to do, is to go, wow, how do I get to that next level? Because she just brought an intensity to that ring that I was just quite frankly unprepared for. She dominated me. But that's okay though, because sometimes you need to have that experience so you can learn from it and you can come back stronger. And it was just such a good experience to get to work with her, and have that guidance so early on in my career. It's such a big opportunity, right? I can't say enough nice things about getting to work with her. It was such a great experience for a very young little witchy to have.
Right. Well, you were saying earlier about the challenges and stuff, and how you meet a challenge and you want to rise above it. It's kind of like that
it motivates you.
Setting the bar. Yeah, setting the bar. You seem like the type of performer that you see a bar in front of you, you're just going to hurdle it and go higher and higher and higher. And
I'm just going to kick that bar out of my way. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I've questioned other wrestlers on this, and everybody has kind of the same, but a different answer too. How does one prepare themselves for a match with Holiday?
You just go in, and you know how we were talking about how like people have a plan. It's very difficult to have a plan with an unorthodox opponent, right? Like you can always think of it as almost like a rock, paper, scissors thing, right? Like you can overpower crazy. If you're smart, you can't predict a crazy person, and it doesn't matter how smart you are if someone's strong. There's kind of like this like little trifecta in wrestling. We all fall into one of the buckets. And when you get an opponent like that is just like so unorthodox in how they move and go about their business in the ring, it's very hard to plan. But not only is she very unorthodox, she's very strong.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's definitely like just learning how to like find those openings and create those openings for yourself to get a little bit of offense in, and hope that you can stand the test of time and have the longer endurance, right? Like that you can endure the onslaught and hopefully come out victorious in the end. I did not come out victorious in that match, but I feel like I had a pretty strong showing once I got cooking. I was like, okay, I can find my openings and I can get my offense in. And I did a little bit of damage, but she just caught me at the end. I did not see that angel's wings coming and just smash.
Yeah.
Witchy smash. Swish, switch.
Trust me, there's no shame in any of that because a lot of people have suffered the same fate, especially with Holiday. Again, someone else very close to us, because besides our relationship and friendship with Thunder Rosa, we're also supporters of Mission Pro Wrestling, her promotion.
Well, those women elevate you, right? Like, even though I was newer at the time and still trying to find my own bearings, getting to have the experiences with people like that helps elevate you as a performer. It helps you learn. It's such a good experience. Like, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it sucks to get your ass kicked, even when you're really trying your damnedest. But all of those experiences make you stronger and better in the future. So I'm so grateful for people like Holiday and Thunder Rosa and Masha Slamovich that were willing to, push me to my limit very early on and hopefully play a part in the wrestler I'm becoming and the great, amazing, witchy wrestler I will be one day.
Yeah,
that's
an awesome way to look at it.
Nice segue into that. Let's talk about the present. You're currently on the shelf due to injury and have been.
It's been rough.
A nagging shoulder that just doesn't want to seem to get healed. Or
I wouldn't say that it's a nagging injury. It was just a very traumatic, very catastrophic injury. People will dislocate their shoulder and be back in the ring within 3 to 4 months. People will separate their AC joint, be back in 3 to 4 months. I actually had a fracture to my humeral head. I had a Hill-Sachs fracture, which required surgery, and it was very extensive to repair. So that's why it's been a little bit longer of a road for me than some other people who have suffered shoulder injuries recently.
Right.
I just try to know that if I stay the course, and there's going to be peaks and valleys with that recovery process, right? And all you can hope to do is just put your best foot forward and stay active in the gym and be very diligent with your physical therapy and know that your time isn't denied. It's just delayed a little bit.
Now, obviously, the goal is to get back in the ring. Do we have a timetable?
I'm not entirely sure. I still have a couple of doctor's appointments that I have to go to. I don't want to rush it because I certainly don't want to end up back where I started in December of 2021.
Okay.
So we'll see. I'm hoping for spring, hoping for some time in the spring. Just going to keep doing my physical therapy and praying for the best. I'm obviously back out in Iowa right now, getting back into the ring a little bit, trying to shake off some of that ring rust, which is very, very real. You know, when you don't move your body in a certain way for a whole year, like to get back into those movement patterns is a whole learning curve in its own right. So it is a little bit like riding a bike, but it's rough. It's a little chonky the first couple of weeks.
I'm sure. Hey, even your first pack, you wobble a little bit the first time you're back on the bicycle. So,
and then just like the little mini setbacks, like a couple of weeks ago, I just did a roll and just rolled on my shoulder, and I was like, oh, okay, now I just need to baby it for a couple of weeks and then try again. It truly is a process, and you have to stay the course.
Now, besides the physical therapy and the training you have been able to do, you keep yourself busy. You're kind of part of the GCW ring crew, or you've been to GCW shows helping them.
Yeah, I started helping out, paying dues there, and like, oh gosh, I can't even remember. Like late 2019. Then I went to wrestling school. Then I came back in July of 2020, and I've always kind of dipped in and out ever since. Obviously, it's a great place to meet a lot of people in wrestling. It's a great place to do networking because as much as it is about your ability in the ring, it's also about the relationships you can build with people and cultivate within this business. So it's a great place to do that. There are a lot of top tier, upper echelon performers that are frequently booked on those cards. So it's a great place to learn. And especially with my injury, right? You know, what do you do? Do you just sit at home for a whole year and like watch the wrestling world pass you by? Or do you find a way to stay involved? Even if you can't be in the ring, right? Because there's so many aspects to wrestling other than just the in-ring performance. And I was, Brett was really, really nice and extended me the opportunity to come help him out on some of the shows over the past year while I recovered. And it was great to just stay in the loop and still see my friends. It's, in wrestling, when you're injured, you don't realize, like, even though everybody's from a different city, right? But you all see each other like every weekend or every other weekend. So these people become such a huge part of your life. And then when you're injured and you're on the shelf,
it's your family. It's actually an extended part of your family. You know,
it is. So when you're injured and you're on the shelf, and then that's taken from you, you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize I got to see like, you know, like Nick Gage and Tony Deppen and everybody every other weekend, and that it very much was a family. And then I'm just like, oh okay, like what happened to all these people, or even all the girls up at WWR Plus, like. I worked so many shows up there before I got hurt, and like just seeing Willow and Megan and Becca and Masha and Ashley and Kathleen and all them, right? Like I got so used to seeing all those girls every other week or whatever. And it's just taken from you, and it's really sad. So I didn't want to just sit in my house and be sad about it. I wanted to still be involved and help in any way I possibly could.
Hey, Tony, does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar?
Yeah, very familiar.
It sounds like us. Like I'm here in Jersey. Tony's originally, he's a truck driver for a living, but he's from Texas. Our group, the Nation's Corner, our group is literally from all over the country. We have people in California, Texas, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Chicago. We're a group of people that got together over the pandemic, over our fandom of wrestling and of the show Busted Open on Sirius XM. And we literally have grown from just some fans hanging out talking to a family. We spend all the time. Thank God for Zoom. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank God for Zoom. But we do events together. We go to wrestling shows together. We go to conventions together. It's grown from just some fans and into this basically a family. And I draw many parallels with us to wrestling in general, because yes, you see these people all the time. You're working with them. You're spending long hours in car rides and crazy travel schedules and trying to find the best bad food you can find at 2:30 in the morning after a show on your way to the next town or whatever.
There was a stretch in January of 2021 where the pandemic hadn't fully bounced back, and there's a lot of trying to find food at 3 a.m. in professional wrestling. And we were driving across Michigan to Chicago. So I was with GCW, they did a show at Harpos, and then the next show was in Chicago. So driving overnight, and we just got jobbed out time and time again to those signs that said 24-hour Taco Bell. Like the third one, I just got out of the car and was just like, rah! Like just raging. I was so angry. I was so mad. I was
you're
just
looking
yelling at this closed Taco Bell, like, why, please? And I'm like, we never ended up getting food. We got to the hotel. I think we stopped at a Speedway. I had 2 pizza Lunchables. I was just sitting on the bed of my underwear eating pizza Lunchables at 4:30, very, very grumpy about the fact that it was not a quesadilla.
They lied to you. How you lied to me like that?
So
I trusted you.
There's nothing like having the longest day on a wrestling show day, and you don't really get to eat a lot on show day, as a performer or anything. Really, you don't. It's just very busy. So the first priority for everybody is food. We got to eat. We're starving. And then just that hanger sits in and just the temper. I'm a little bit of a spicy, fiery witch sometimes. That temper hit when I was hangry, and it was not good. I was very upset.
It's well justified. How can you lie? How can you lie to me like that, highway sign? How can you lie to me like that? I trusted you.
It was 4 Taco Bells too. I was like,
the worst part about it is are the restaurants that say open, right? But then you try to walk into the dining room and the damn door is locked, and you can only go through the drive-through. And
so as a lady too, during the pandemic, that's a huge issue, because when you're a dude and you have to pee on a road trip, you just pull over, pee on the road, pee in a bottle. It's no big deal. But it's I like a bathroom. I am a lady witch. I like a bathroom. And it's just, so many places just closed their lobbies during the pandemic. So it's just pulling on the door, no, please.
And try being in a big truck. Try being in a big truck going through the drive-through. It doesn't work. I'll tell you that right now.
They make YouTube videos about that, though. You see them. You see those videos on YouTube.
Well,
there was a struggle there for a while.
I go through the same thing. Leaving shows, especially if I know I have a long drive or something back. All I'm looking for is I want coffee and some snacks for the ride home and everything. And I can relate, but I can't, because I'm just a fan in the crowd and all that. But you guys
had many
really
dinners
working.
That were Slim Jims and coffee.
It's
very, very sad.
I can't imagine. And the funny thing is, just speaking with wrestlers and in general over the years and meeting with them, everybody has great bad food stories that, you know, and you guys, just by normally you watch what you're eating, you're, you know, I can only eat certain things, this and that.
I mean, some
Wrestling.
people do. I don't.
Yeah.
I just eat whatever I want.
You know, I
I don't
always,
care. I gotta fuel the witchy machine, so I can't be on no restrictive diet.
And those things like, oh, I only eat this, that all goes out the window on a wrestling road trip.
Not necessarily, because like at the end of the day, like a lot of people talk diet and like what do you eat as a wrestler, and like are you really like diligent, or are you strict? And honestly, like all three of us know what we should and shouldn't eat. Right. Like there's no question there. So it's just like being aware and like going, okay, like I'm just going to eat the best I can. And I'm not going to like beat myself up about it. I'm not going to like kill myself in the gym over it. I'm just going to do what I can do. Like I know what I should eat and I know what I shouldn't eat. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not going to deprive myself. I'm not going to go ham. But I'm going to do the best I can. Like one of my one of my go-tos like late at night is just like McChickens, because you can just pull one of the buns off. It's mostly protein. Just eat it. It's not like flavorful or exciting, so it's not like gonna make your tummy hurt if you eat it like at 4 a.m. So I like that a lot. Or like I said, like Taco Bell, I love like just a chicken quesadilla or something, because it's like, okay, this isn't gonna upset my stomach if I eat it.
It's chicken and cheese. So
it's chicken and cheese and bread. Yeah. So it's you find I like Chipotle, honestly, like on the road, because you can get like rice and chicken and vegetables, and it's like a somewhat decent meal. It's not like fried, greasy. You do eat a lot of pizza and a lot of burgers and stuff against your will, but
all right,
you just make it work.
Real quick, for someone that's been here on the East Coast and all that, Sheetz or Wawa?
Wawa.
Okay, my girl. Thank you. That's all I need to know. One more for the Wawa column.
Yep. Definitely a Wawa gal.
Yes. Love their coffee. One other thing I wanted to mention or discuss with you that has always intrigued me. The Good Witch isn't just a gimmick. You are I don't want to use the wrong word, a believer, is practitioner.
I'm a real witch. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I am fascinated by this. Please tell us more about it. What is it about? What is it? What is the thinking behind it? I'm very, very curious to hear this, because it's just something that's always fascinated me, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but can you tell me what exactly does it mean? Does it mean to you? Does it mean to everything in general? Just tell me about it.
So they always say in wrestling, like the best gimmicks are the things that are a piece of you that's amplified, right? And in so many words, it's said many different ways, but that's the crux. And when I was kind of kicking around what I wanted to do as far as a presentation or personality was concerned, I was like, man, I should just be a witch. Like I was raised a witch. My aunt's a witch. My whole life been a witch. It fits, right? It's natural. It doesn't feel like acting. It's not bullshit, so it's like, it's not, perhaps when I started out, it was a little bit more costumey because I, was new and I just needed to like have the quick read. But as I've evolved, I've started to like make it more about coming into my own power as a witch, right? And being able to like use that power to be more effective in the ring, to be able to interpret and perceive these energies surrounding us and manipulate them to have desired outcomes. So that's kind of where my story is headed. Is like I started off as a good witch, but now I truly am becoming a conduit of karma, as in like I am the middle person in which the energy passes through for the outcome that I would like to achieve. In so many ways, like witches come into power very many different ways. I'm a familial witch. My family has lineage that goes back for generations. I was born into it. My magic has always been there. It's just a matter of learning how to cultivate it. So there's that particular path. There is witches who take their power either by good or bad intention. They become empowered and they take. Or there are witches who are gifted their power, again, for either good or bad intention from other witches or other magical sources, right? So those are kind of like the 3 buckets that witches fall into, generalizing. And some people say that their power is rooted in the light. And some people say that their power is rooted in the darkness and the divine feminine. But for me, with that rich familial lineage, like my power is not rooted in darkness. It's not rooted in light. It's rooted in greatness, and it's rooted in this being my destiny, to be victorious in the ring. So I'm just trusting the process, trusting the energies around me. And I know that the karmic wheel turns in a very, very magical way, and that I'm going to have my highs and my lows. And this might be the valley, but my time will come. And when I ascend, no one's going to be able to stop me.
Interesting.
Okay. Very, very. I just, like I said, I've always been curious about it. I just didn't know too much about it, and who better to ask? Honestly,
yeah, it's there's so many different ways in which people practice or are involved in magic, whether it be like familial or a cultural thing that's passed down through generations, or just a curiosity that they want to cultivate, right? But for me, that's sort of my personal path and my personal story with magic.
Okay. Is it religious for you, or is it just more about power?
I don't
power
necessarily
within?
know if religious is the word, because it's not really a religion. It's more, like I said, a practice of spirituality, of being in tune with yourself, the energies around you, and building a good relationship with the deities in which you invoke.
Okay. All right.
I love the idea of being in control of your destiny and in control of your fate, and that you're not just blindly living your life according to somebody else's plan, right? That you were able to perceive that energy, you were able to invoke those deities, and you were able to direct that toward a desired outcome for yourself. And it's a very active role in where you head in this life. And I just love the concept of being able to utilize that magic inside of myself to create the world that I would like to live in, and to create the life for myself that I would like to have.
Okay.
A great answer. Very
fantastic. I'm learning a lot. So thank you for sharing.
I prefer the more active role that magic offers me, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the idea? And quick shameless plug, folks. BigCartel.com/Kaia McKenna, or I'm sorry, Kaia McKenna.BigCartel.com for all of Kaia's merchandise. What's the idea or the concept behind the scapegoat?
The scapegoat?
Yeah.
The scapegoat empowered witches to embrace their beauty and femininity. Gave them makeup.
Because it's a badass logo.
Yes.
I love it.
Badass concept.
I actually have a scapegoat t-shirt on its way here to the house.
That's super exciting.
I saw that. And please, folks, check out. She has a ton of really cool merchandise on there. I'm telling you, the scapegoat logo that she has on her t-shirts and stuff is really, really cool. Even if you're not in it's just a badass looking logo. It's one of those wrestling t-shirts you want to wear when you go out to a wrestling show.
Awesome.
But you talked about skateboarding. You a street skater or a ramp skater?
More like pools and parks. That's what was readily available where I grew up, on the shore.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this may or may not come out, but
Death Wish?
No, Red Dragon Skate out of Canada.
A Red Dragon. Okay,
yeah,
similar.
Yeah.
I couldn't really see. I left my glasses back home on this trip, so I feel like I'm constantly
yeah.
I feel your pain.
My magic has not repaired my vision yet.
Let's see if I can get this on here. I also have my requisite Red Dragons tattoo.
Oh, that's cool.
On my arm. 100 years, or I should say 100, many thousands of years ago, I was a street skater for Red Dragon. In my youth and growing up around here, yes, parks and pools were very popular, and that's mainly where I skated before the cops came and chased us off and said, I'm going to lock you up and break your skateboard in half. So
we were really lucky to have a very, very nice skate park in Ocean City, Maryland, where I grew up. It's one of the oldest skate parks on the East Coast that's still up and running and well maintained.
Yes, well, you're welcome, because it was all of us quote unquote hooligans back in the mid 80s and stuff that were getting harassed by the cops in the towns, that they finally realized that, look, these kids are going to do it anyway, and we need to have a place where we could, well, as we put, a place where they could contain us, but actually give us a place to skate instead of trying to do it in parking lots and people's backyards and stuff like that. So
my take on it is, as long as you're not being destructive, people generally don't care. If your behavior is destructive, whether you're skateboarding or not, people are going to have a problem with it, right? So just be respectful of the space in which you are utilizing. That's how I always went about it.
Yeah, I'm just.
Lost her.
We lost her. Well, I guess we'll just have to fill.
Yeah, she says she'll be back.
Okay,
she'll be back. We'll just have to bookmark that conversation about being respectful.
Yeah,
in the skate parks.
Okay,
but yeah, it's been an interesting interview so far.
Yeah, like I said, I've been really wanting to have an interview with her for a while because I think she's, besides being very good, a very good wrestler. She's just a very cool and fascinating person. You know, this witch thing, this good witch thing in Conduit of Karma, man. It's not just a gimmick. It's who she is, and just hearing her talk about it, and obviously, it's a very, very huge part of who she is. And like I said, I was fascinated by it and wanted to know about it more. I didn't want to I'm going to bring up to her when she comes back in. She's had some matches in weird places. She wrestled on a beach. Like her very first match was in basically an outdoor park. She's wrestled on a beach. It's a clip on YouTube. She did it for Women's Wrestling Revolution Plus and literally they set a ring up on a beach. It's somewhere near the shore in, I think it's Rhode Island. But I'm going to ask
back
with that.
There she is. Kaia.
My computer died, so I just had to
It's all good.
No problem. No problem. Anyway, well, I was going to answer about being respectful and not being destructive. I was doing the quick math in my head. That's why I had that funny look to see if I could talk about some of the things I did in the past that the statute of limitations ran out. That might have been a reason why also they started building skate parks for the kids.
3 years? What have you done in the past 3 years on a skateboard that you couldn't talk about?
Well, definitely not in the last 3 years. But there was a time, let's just say the punk rock mentality and my skating kind of went hand in hand. So
you big punk rock guy?
Yes,
I am.
Rock fan? Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm a huge old school hardcore guy. And yeah, I was, when everybody else was putting graffiti and stuff on their boom boxes carrying around, I was the guy putting the Dead Kennedys logo and DRI and Agent Orange.
T-Saw.
Dead Kennedys, Dead Milkmen.
Circle Jerks.
Yes, all of them. Yeah.
Stooges. I love the Stooges.
Yes. God bless Iggy Pop. But I was just talking with Tony before you came back on. You've had some matches in interesting places. Like we talked about your very first one in a park, like an outdoor park. You've wrestled on a beach.
I have. It was amazing.
Really that was Women's Wrestling Revolution Plus.
Yes. That was really fun. I loved that. I thought it was such a beautiful spot to have a wrestling match.
Yeah, I was looking around. I came across the clip on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, they're like legit on the beach. You can see the ocean and waves in the background of where they're wrestling. I was like, "That's really cool."
And I remember, oh man, Ashley gave me a cannonball in that match to the outside, and I caught her. And sand is not the worst thing to fall into, but I fall into the sand. And like when we hit the sand, her feet dig into the sand and just kick sand up. And I get like a mouthful of sand and I just sit up and I'm like, it was like the pocket sand from the King of the Hill.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my God. And the referee is like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine, just dying. I'm fine. Just everything's fine. It's fine. I just have a mouthful of sand.
Yeah. Count slow while I get this out of my mouth.
Gosh, that was again, thing. Like we didn't think that through, but it was fun. I just remember.
And it was. It looked like you guys had a lot of fun. It was a very good.
Yeah, it was a great match. It was one of my favorite matches I've ever had. Honestly, I really enjoyed that match.
And just to note, you sort of mentioned her opponent in that was. One was Ashley Vox, who went on to do some very good things on her own, and it was very entertaining. Look it up on YouTube. Women's Wrestling Revolution Plus
WWR
on YouTube. Plus. Scroll down. I think it was
IWTV. You can watch it there.
Okay. Oh, she's up on her plugs. I don't have to worry about that. And that was up in Rhode Island, I believe.
Yes, Westerly.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Beach Club.
Okay. But you segued effortlessly into, well, so I'm going to talk about favorite matches. You mentioned that one on the beach. Do you have an all-time favorite, or do you think that's still out there for you?
Out of all the ones I've had currently, one of the matches that I really, really liked is I got to wrestle Blair Onyx at AAW in Chicago at the Berwyn Eagles Club, which we talk about very historical professional wrestling venues. I would definitely consider that one to be up there, right? Like, think of all the matches, all the people, like the rich history Shimmer has in that building and the relevance that has to wrestling.
Very much so.
Grace acted for us, right? So just to wrestle in that building was very special for me. It was very special for her. And to wrestle for that promotion was very, very special because that's where our coaches kind of got their big start. Obviously, they were trained by Danny Daniels, who is the promoter of AAW. And we have our match, and it just goes off without a hitch. It's super great. It's one of my favorites. And I didn't realize it until after the match had happened, and they had photos released from the show. The photographer, Nick, sent me the pictures. And I was looking through the pictures, and there's this one where like she's hitting her spider pose and I'm hitting my witch pose. We're in the middle of the ring, and AAW has all these banners of like all the people that have come and gone through the promotion over the past almost 20 years. And you could see us like dead center of the ring, and the two banners that were hanging down were Seth and Merrick. And I just love that our coaches were on the banners in the background. It's just such a cool moment and such a cool photograph. And I just love that match for that reason. That's a little sentimental.
Now, your GCW match with Holiday, was that at ECW?
It was at the Voltage Lounge.
Oh, okay. All right. For some reason, I thought that they were at the 2300 arena then, but that's my mistake.
No.
Yeah. Again, that's talking about
menu.
Yeah. Okay. No, I know the Voltage. I know the Voltage.
During that match, it was I remember like two of my friends from Black and Brave were riding out, Solomon Tupu and Conan Lycan, and they texted me. And they're like, "What's the temperature there?" And I was like, 19 degrees. And they're like, "No, inside." And I'm like, 19 degrees.
Yeah.
And they were like,
yes.
It was very cold. Yes.
And
then getting trapped when it's cold is like so much worse. It's so much worse than when it's like a regular match, right? Like, it's just like getting clubbed with like a block of ice. It's horrible.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Your muscles never adjust well.
Right. And
I would rather wrestle outside in the heat any day of the week than inside in the cold.
Well, that and you're in your gear, and for the most part, that's not the warmest clothing.
No, and there's glass everywhere because like Schlack murdered Orin Vite the night before. Like,
right.
Glass everywhere.
Yes.
It's cold. It is a true challenge to test your will as a professional wrestler. Because you're getting like, that's not even a stipulation for your match, but that's now in the environment that you have to deal with, right? So you're bumping, you're getting cut up, it's cold. It's like, it is brutal. That match was brutal.
Talk about paying dues.
But such a good opportunity, right? Like, and I really appreciate, after paying dues there for so long, that Brett was willing to take a chance on me and give me an opportunity. So
it's awesome. Some people rescue animals. You rescue band t-shirts. Tell us about that.
I don't know if I rescue them or I'm just a pack rat that's had a million of them forever. I was home recently for a little bit, and I found a storage container in the shed that just had all of my like band t-shirts from high school, like metalcore t-shirts, and like some were like a little bit older, maybe from like college, and I don't know. I got a couple in there I really, really like, so I was pretty excited to find that they had withstood the test of time. Some are in better shape than others, but it's really nice to have that little piece of nostalgia. And it's also wild to think that the t-shirts I wore in high school are probably considered vintage at this point.
Right. I was doing some research and I looked on your IG and I saw where you said anybody that has any band t-shirts can, it's like it's kind of like you're rescuing them, because people will throw out a t-shirt because it's old or whatever, but hey, they'll have a home with you.
I'll wear it to the gym.
Yeah.
Especially with the band I like, I'll wear it till it falls off.
Yeah. See, I had to wear one and just so that you would see that I'm into band t-shirts as well, because I think this is a Fuel Metallica shirt.
Looks like it.
So yeah,
I have a Slayer World Sacrifice Tour shirt that's actually from the 80s that I really like. That's probably like my oldest, most valuable one. I also have a Iron Maiden Run to the Hills one from the 80s.
Oh yeah,
crop top with the sleeves cut off, but that's just how I bought it because I'm assuming some metalhead wore it in the parking lot getting drunk in the 80s.
Right.
The thing,
right?
Well, here's a funny thing about that.
But I love Iron Maiden, so I'm like all about it.
Okay. Well, here's the funny thing is especially myself, those t-shirts I had when I was a kid, back when they were brand new and I was younger, some happens over the years, they just shrink and they don't quite fit anymore, meaning as we got older, we got fatter.
Yeah.
So
I'm really the same size. I bought everything a little bit. I'm lucky because when I was in high school, I did not have really good self-esteem, so I'd wear everything baggy. So most of my band t-shirts are like men's mediums. So like they fit pretty decently now.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Okay.
I've got a couple.
You were
of
thinking even back then.
I should.
I've got a couple of like real tiny ones that have I've had to like crop up or cut the sleeves or whatever at this point. But yeah, most of them are like men's mediums. So
that's what I did wrong.
Yeah, I got lucky.
That's what I did wrong. I didn't think that far ahead. I was 20 years old and really probably drunk and high out of my mind at a particular concert when I grabbed not even one of the merchandise ones, but one of the bootleg ones from the guys in the parking lot. And after one wash would fall apart and I wouldn't be able to wear it again. So
I just always love the idea of merch. That you're putting money directly into that musician's.
I am a huge I'm huge on especially indie wrestlers. Buying merch. Tony can attest. I'm always buying. I have this one's t-shirt. I have your t-shirt on the way. I have 5 others from 5 other indie wrestlers.
I have to. I've not been at my house to ship my merch orders. I'm sorry if you've ordered merch from me. I'm so sorry. I promise.
That's all right. I'll get it eventually. I don't care. But I've always been. 2 things I've been very passionate about as far as wrestling is supporting indie wrestling and supporting indie wrestlers. I recently became involved with a promotion and a person as well from East Coast. That is Mr. Marcello Squirewell of Capital Championship Wrestling.
Yes, and I have been wanting to work there so badly because it is 45 minutes from my house back home.
Awesome.
Everybody who's familiar with independent wrestling knows the chance of getting to work a show 45 minutes from your house is like very small. I have done many drives by myself on my journey. It's very interesting when you start wrestling, you have like cars full of people and everybody rides and it's truly an experience. But as you start getting more opportunities and time goes on, people drop out of it. People get girlfriends, people have kids, people get injured. People just aren't elevating it as quickly as you and the numbers start to dwindle. And I remember when I was working for WWR Beyond once a month, like I would make that 7.5 hour one-way trip myself because it had gotten to the point where everybody had dropped off. But it's like when you want something so badly and you're super passionate about wrestling, like you don't care. You don't care. But it is, as you start to like climb up the ladder, it sometimes gets to be a little bit, it tests you in the sense of like, okay, now you're by yourself. Can you still power on and push through?
Right.
Well, rest assured, Marcello is just excited to have you at CCW as you are to be there. So
hometown girl, let's go.
Yes, I am keeping your name fresh in his mind.
Yeah, I feel so bad because like I was supposed to like wrestle there in the fall before I had another little minor setback, but spring's right around the corner, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Who designs your gear?
Me.
All 100%. Do you make it yourself or you just design? All 100% you.
Yep. My mom is a seamstress. She knows how to make clothes, and my grandmother was a quilter. So I've always been around sewing, and I did not know how to make gear at first, but I didn't know how to sew. So I was like, well, let me just start like small. And then as I've gotten a little bit better, the gears become more elaborate. So it's been a fun little project.
Cool. Tony?
Awesome. Yeah, I can relate because my grandma is a seamstress too, but I don't have any gear, but she did do my Elvis Presley jumpsuit because I used to be an Elvis impersonator back in the day. So
that's cool.
I still have it too at home.
I love that I can just make my own gear. Like honestly, when I'm really like when I have a truly free day, I can make a set of gear in a night. Like I'm
awesome.
And especially as an independent wrestler, that's got to be a hell of a skill to have in your back pocket, because you hear some of the nightmare stories about people trying to get gear done or get people. It's not, let's face it, you're not going down to the mall into a store and buying gear. This is
that's the thing too, and it's such a cornerstone of your look. Like, people are so occupied with like what they're doing in the ring as far as like what their match is going to be, that they forget your presentation is like so critical. Like, the second you come through that curtain, like, people need to see you and get what you're all about and resonate with you. And a good way to do that, in my opinion, I know I'm still relatively new, but I have opinions. One of them is to just make sure you really have a presentation nailed down that like people connect to immediately. Like, have a look that's synonymous with yourself. Have a way your gear looks, and then once your gear looks a certain way, swap the colors, maybe swap the embellishments, but keep that key look. So you build, I guess in the marketing world, we call it brand equity, right? Like, you're building equity.
Yeah, you're building your brand.
You're becoming familiar with the fans.
Yes.
So I think that it's one of the most looked over parts of professional wrestling is the show and is your presentation as a performer, Well, the most athletic person in the world, but if there's nothing about you when you come through that curtain that makes people interested.
Right.
You're just another body on another show.
I watch gymnastics on the Olympics too, brother. So,
well, just for me looking at your pictures,
that. I think it makes it very special.
Right. Well, just from me, seeing your picture, seeing your gear and all that, and you have very striking gear in that thing you wear in your head. That is awesome.
Crown.
It made me want to be like, okay, who is this? I need to check this out, see what she's all about. And I'm so happy that you came on and we got to delve deep into what she's about. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, her very first match. She just said her very first match, and she comes through, made her own. I was like, wow, who's this?
I've made some adjustments along the way, right? Like, you start to figure yourself out a little bit, and you get
as you get more familiar with and comfortable with yourself, and how you want to portray yourself and how you want to be shown. But still, I couldn't agree more with any of that as far as the gear. And I wish more indie wrestlers would pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And
it's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And they were like, well, why can't? I'm like, well, you can't show up in your gym workout gear. It's just not, it's not the same aesthetic. You're not hitting that presentation part at all. But that's a discussion for another day.
I mean, don't we all sit and watch Monday Night Raw? Like, people have presentation, they have personality, they have characters, they have a way in which they walk, talk, and dress that resonates with fans. And I think there's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kaia, this has been an absolute delight having you on finally.
Thank you.
We will definitely be having you back again once you are hopefully fully healed up and back in action.
Moving toward it.
Yes. We will keep we will keep thinking all that good karma.
Absolutely.
To keep you healing, to keep you recovering.
Sounds great to me.
Please let people know where they can get a hold of you, how they can get a hold of you. Give us your social medias, everything Kaia McKenna out there on the internet.
I am on all social media platforms as @Kaia MCK. So it's KAIA MCK. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all the same link. That's me. The other ones are not me, but those are me. I have a merch store, KaiaMcKenna.bigcartel.com. There's some good deals on there right now, just because I'm trying to move out some older merch so I can have some new cool stuff ready when I come back in the spring. So please check that out.
Very cool.
When I get back home to Maryland in a week or two. I have that. Please interact with me. If you see me at shows, I will take pictures with you. Tag me on the Twitter machine. I love to retweet them. I save all the pictures that fans post of me with them. Album on my phone. I love it. So,
and check out her IG. She buys herself really cool Valentine gifts.
Oh yeah, no, isn't that the funniest thing?
I love that bear. That was so cool.
Cute,
I popped when I saw that. That was cool. All right. So folks, this has been Nation's Corner on location. Our guest has been the wonderfully talented and soon to be tearing up wrestling rings all across the country again very soon.
Of course.
The good witch, the Conduit of Karma, Miss Kaia McKenna. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Kaia. We look forward to seeing you out there, and who knows, maybe we'll run into each other at a show and we can talk more. If not, I will be waiting in anticipation for your return to the ring, because I will be at that show.
All right. Thank you guys
wherever
so much
it is.
for having me this evening. It was really delightful.
Thanks, Kaia. Thank you
so much. All right, dear. Have a good night.
Cool, John. Well, thank you for getting that, and that is awesome. Awesome interview, and I can't wait to release this to the public.
Yeah, man, this is going to be very cool. And she was fantastic, and definitely she's going to be on the Short Nations Corner On Location list for a repeat visit, because there's a whole lot more to her that we didn't get to touch on, and she's you know, like I said, this was one to watch, and I'm still blown away that was her very first match, because she certainly did not wrestle anything that was her very first match. But
cool.
All right.
Well, John, how can people find you on the socials?
I can never do this right, so I'm not going to try. maybe. Oh, almost that time. Almost there. It is. I did. Oh, I got it. Yes, I am at Twisted Metal Fab on the Twitter and the IG. Also, hashtag, thank you, Deb. Nation's Corner On Location, folks. Let us know where you're at, what you're doing, what shows you're at. You know, who you liking, who you're not liking. Let us know. We want to include everybody on it. And reach out to me, DM, email, everything works. I'm still on the medical shelf myself, so I don't have a lot to do during the day except answer social media. So that's it for me.
All right. Well, I'm Tony Justice at Tony Justice AJFA, and if you're a Metallica fan, you know what that means. Ooh. All right. Until next time, we are Nation's Corner, and we will catch y'all on the flip.